Speaker, let me from the very outset say that on the side of the Labour Party we will vote for this motion, and we are in full support of this motion that has been brought forward by the Honourable Prime Minister. As Honourable Béranger has said himself, it reminds us of a motion that was brought forward in 1998, the principle, at least, of having an island referred to, that was Agalega, where Prime Minister Ramgoolam brought the bill, and the leader of the opposition then, Honourable Béranger, intervened on the bill, on the motion, and Honourable Minerve also spoke. I looked at the debate, and Honourable Duval also addressed, late Honourable Duval also addressed the House on this particular motion. In those days, Madam Speaker, there was consensus. And it is also something which is clear here today, that there is consensus on all sides of the House with regards to the principle behind this motion and the importance of this motion that is brought by the Prime Minister. Now, I myself, we talk about independence every time. I myself was born in 1968, after independence. And every time when we heard of Mauritius independence and we as children stood, as the children of today stand in respect in front of our flag, the quadricolore, on the 12th of March, we stand in respect and we sing the national anthem. But every time when we were at school, at primary school, I do recall, like many of us, well, some of us would, that we were told about the importance of sovereignty. We were talked about the importance of independence. We were taught about how it was important to us to get back Chagos. From those days, ever since I was at primary school, I heard about the importance of getting back Chagos, and that the Americans, we were told in those days, and the British are unlawfully occupying our territory. This is how, when we were children, we learned about Chagos. And as we grew up, we learned about all historical facts, what happened indeed, what treachery was played, how things were forced. We also learned about how history was rewritten, or how this blame game at some stage of history happened as to who was responsible or who wasn't. Let me put it that way. Emotion ran high. It is not for me today, and for any one of us, I hope, to come and show the world at large that we are divided. We are a united nation, Mauritius as a republic when it comes to this particular agenda, and we have no right to show the world at large, the British, who surely would like to know what is being said in this assembly. The British would like to know what is the position of the opposition and government. And the British would revel to know that if we are divided, and they would smile. But we are not divided on this. Let us reassure the people of this country, and let us reassure those that's watching us. But it is important to try to come back to the issue of the Chagosians. At one point in history, we learned about Honourable Gayan when he talked about in what way they tried to force something down the throat, if I may put it that way, forcibly, of Premier Ramgoolam. And I call that treachery. At some point in time, let us also pay homage, as Honourable Béranger put it, that they had been, the MMM, at the helm of this struggle to recall the importance of the rights of the Chagosians. I was myself, as a lawyer, reading the Constitution, and when I look at the amendment brought about, if I'm not mistaken, in 1982, where Chagos and Diego Garcia both included in Section 111 of the Constitution, it was when the MMM was in government in 1982. And that was, indeed, rightly said by my friend Boulel, a defining moment. Those issues are of utmost importance that cannot be forgotten and should not be cast aside as unimportant events of history. Because without what happened in the past, the future would not have existed. Without what happened in the past, all the struggle from, as I said, the treachery, the struggle of the MMM, the Labour Party each and every time being in a position to make people remember our position, our stake, our sovereignty rights in all international fora. The position adopted by Right Honourable Sir Anirudh Jagannath himself as Prime Minister, reminding everyone each and every time when he was Prime Minister from 1982, 1983 onwards until 1995. Each opportunity he had, he reminded the world at large that we are a sovereign nation and Chagos belongs to us. He also did that, so did Premier Ramgoolam, so did Prime Minister Ramgoolam, so did Prime Minister Béranger, so did Prime Minister Praveen Jagannath. And all of this is of importance. And all of us together, we cannot in any way come and criticize how patriotic we are. We are all patriots. Maybe we would have political differences, but we cannot come and say that we do not love our country. So, to come back to the issues, let me, without in any way reducing the importance of the contribution of all prime ministers and all cabinet members and all the people from Chagos and all the party people connected to the Chagosians who have fought for this cause, I think without reducing those contributions of the Mauritian politicians, but the main issue is the tragedy that has been imposed on the Chagosians. I guess we have read about it, we have been told about it, we have heard about le témoignage poignant at the International Court of Justice on how people were removed forcibly from that island. We therefore feel the pain, but we will never know the pain they have gone through. So they are not only went through the pain in the late 60s, but they and their children and their grandchildren and all those descendants of the Chagosians are constantly and consistently being put through that pain every single moment of their life and of our Mauritian history. And it will not be over until, I hope, we all can claim back physically Chagos and all the territories, including Diego Garcia. It will not be over. And then again, how will we be able to make them forget the pain? That is something that we can only pray that it can happen. Let me come to the issue of myself as a student of law in the United Kingdom. Yes, Honorable Gayan is right. And all lawyers here who have read law in the United Kingdom will recall when we studied law in the United Kingdom, we were taught about the rule of law. We were taught about natural justice. And when we have come back to Mauritius in order to practice our profession, today we turn around and we look at what the United Kingdom states and what the United Kingdom's reaction to the findings of the International Court of Justice and to the resolution of the General Assembly. This shocks us. It shocks us. And today I was reading the position of the United Kingdom, if I may be allowed to quote the position of the United Kingdom. It states here, in this important part of the world, the joint United Kingdom and United States defense facility on the British Indian Ocean territory plays a vital role in our efforts to keep our allies and friends, including Mauritius, in the region and beyond, safe and secure. On the one hand, you have undoubtedly, and what cannot in any way be contested, that is now engraved in stone, if I may use those words, those phrases to express what I'm saying, that Mauritius is a sovereign state and has sovereignty over Chagos. That is undeniable and cannot in any way be contested. On the one hand, you have this state sovereignty. On the one hand, you have self-determination and decolonization as fundamental principles, but the state sovereignty is supported by an international body such as the General Assembly of the United Nations and findings of the International Court of Justice. That is what we have in our hand, the truth, and nothing else but the truth. On the other, you have a nation that comes forward, the United Kingdom and the United States of America, talking about military position and military presence and their geostrategic interests. How can they try to start comprehending, and this is what I cannot comprehend, how can we start comparing, on the one hand, sovereignty issues as opposed to their presence there for military reasons? What has given those two nations the right to be there as supposedly the police of the world to protect us? At least it should have been supported and justified by international law, but it is not even justified by international law. So Britain, Madam Speaker, continues to adopt the very same stance it has adopted ever since the detachment of Chagos and ever since the pain that was inflicted on the innocent people of Chagos. It continues to adopt, and I do not believe it is an insult, but an opinion of mine, adopt a very straightforward colonialism mentality, which it continues in spite of the fact that the world has changed. Let me refer very briefly to what Honorable Gayan was saying. Yes, the world has changed. In those days when they took forcibly the territory of Chagos, the Berlin Wall is no longer in existence. Can you imagine? We have conquered space. We have been advances in medical science. There have been a lot of other discoveries in science. You have the USSR no longer exists. And still, what has not changed is the stance that is adopted by the United Kingdom. Madam Speaker, I would like here to refer also to the International Court of Justice important paragraphs of its finding. And I here refer, with your permission, even though I do not want to read lengthily about the finding of the International Court of Justice, but very briefly I'll just quote, and I think it is very important to go there. It's at paragraph 172, and I quote, "The court observes that when the Council of Ministers agreed in principle to the detachment from Mauritius of the Chagos archipelago, Mauritius was a colony under the authority of the United Kingdom." And at paragraph 172, it goes on to say, "In the court's view, it is not possible to talk of an international agreement when one of the parties to it, Mauritius, which is said to have ceded the territory of the United Kingdom, was under the authority of the latter." And finally, paragraph 174, the court concludes that as a result of the Chagos archipelago's unlawful detachment and its incorporation into a new colony known as the BIOT, the process of decolonization of Mauritius was not lawfully completed when Mauritius acceded to independence in 1968. Not only does that set things right in history, but it is compelling as a finding for us on this issue to work as one nation, and there is no excuse to that. Now, I am of the view that Honorable Senator Ambu maybe was obviously happy. Let me just limit it to that. He was happy as a member of government and as a Mauritian that we have achieved what we have achieved, and Mauritius has come so far as regards Chagos. And let me just say that his happiness has made him say certain things that do not necessarily show unity, but most probably that was not his intention. At least at the end of his speech, he did request that we all work as one people. And at least I'll concentrate on what unites us and the commonality between our speech is what is important. The rest is not important. Madam Speaker, I'd like to also remember, at least remind, let me say this through you, Madam Speaker, to the Honourable Prime Minister, that there are certain things that have been said in the press that I find very saddened. I'm saddened by it. Saddened by what the British High Commission has done by cancelling at the last moment an event to celebrate the birthday of Her Majesty the Queen. The reason that was put forward for that was supposedly that ils étaient offusqués ou scandalisés par ce qui a été prononcé, le discours qui a été prononcé par l'honorable Premier ministre. This is nothing they should remember as to the pain and the treachery subjected to the people from Chagos. If we have gone through all this and the people of the Chagosians have had to be subjected to such treatment for more than 50 years, the few words of the Honourable Prime Minister is just a little expression of the pain that the nation has suffered. So therefore, it is quite sad that the British High Commission has taken that position in spite of the International Court of Justice finding and in spite of the General Assembly's resolution. I have also come across another statement that I found in the press, and it has been reported that His Excellency, the Ambassador of the United States, has clearly made it stated to the press on the same day that the Honourable Prime Minister was present at McCarthy House in Floreal to celebrate the American independence. He had stated, not in his speech, I take that, but he had stated to a journalist afterwards when questioned about the issues of Chagos, he had stated that it is not in their intention at all to have discussions with Mauritius with regards to Chagos. That is also a sad event because it comes from a friendly state. A sad event when very often we hear about Americans and we hear about the revolution and we hear about the rule of law and we hear about the land of the free and all the civil liberties in that land. And the fact that he has made such a comment, I hope this has also been a comment that he will not repeat, and that he will consider the importance of and to have good faith and to sit down with those in charge of the issues, be it the Prime Minister of the Republic of Mauritius and officials from the United States of America, because good sense has to prevail. Therefore, even if the United States of America and the United Kingdom keep on sticking to their stand, I'm convinced that if we are to stick together and outside in the United States of America and in United Kingdom, when they look at us and listen to us on this issue, they have to be, the message is clear, we are one. Now, when it comes to, allow me to say that, the creation of a new constituency altogether, I am an elected member of constituency number 3, Madam Speaker. It's my second mandate for constituency number 3. I, together with my honourable friends who are elected members of that particular constituency, of constituency number 3, also represent people from Agalega. If I am to ask all members of constituency number 3 whether they've had the opportunity of going to Agalega to represent, to see leur mandant, to meet them and to address to the issues they have to discuss with us, the answer is no. It is only once, and Honourable Amihemia will not in any way deny that, but he will agree with me, that I myself, when I was Minister of Labour, I found an opportunity of going to Agalega because there were some labour and industrial relation issues, and the Ministry of Labour then chartered a flight and we went up to Agalega. And Honourable Amihemia was on the flight at the request of the former Prime Minister, Dr. Ramgoolam, that he also come with us. there, because it was not an issue of party politics. This was an issue of he represented the constituency, albeit for the MMM, so he had to have the opportunity of visiting there. We did not have enough space to take Honorable Sel Mia, who was another elected member. It's not that it was heavy or anything, but the aircraft, the Dornier, did not permit that he come along. And he was not very happy about that. Maybe next time we will repay him that voyage next time we're in government. Now, what I wanted to suggest is that it's all important to have this motion today. But it is also a reminder that ever since 1998, just like our friends from Rodrigues, who represent Rodrigues and who are here and who have the opportunity of traveling back and forth to Rodrigues every week, us as members of parliament of Agalega should also have the opportunity of visiting our constituents in Agalega. Not every week, but at least on a regular basis. The fact that we are not able to visit our constituents at all is something that really hurts the essence of our democracy. And it is something that we have to really pay attention to, because when I say we have to act as a responsible nation, we have to be able to show also the world at large, but first to show ourselves, is that when we come up with motions, when we believe in the motions and we vote for motions such as this one, such as the one that was voted for in 1998, it cannot only be simply black ink on white paper. It has to have some meaning. Therefore, if we are to believe that we have the right to have Agalega in one constituency and later on Chagos as a constituency, or in the shape and form that will make the Chagosians happy, it has to be that the representatives, whoever they are, and we wish them luck, we wish them God's protection, that they should also be able to have the facility given to them, as our friends from Rodrigues, to come to the National Assembly and to go to their constituency. We hope one day we will see the day when Chagosians, we will set foot there and we will be able to fly the flag of Mauritius. But one call I will have for all friends from Chagos. The British in history have been found to be excellent at many things. And another thing which they're really good at is to divide and rule. And they're so good at that. Now, they're so good at that that a lot of us have even learned from them. And when we say we have a Westminsterian system of parliament, we have learned a lot of the défauts from the British. As Prime Minister Mahathir said when he was interviewed once by a BBC interviewer, a journalist. But here, I see that there is danger ahead. And let it not be said that we did not say that there may be dangers ahead in the form of the British coming forward and trying to divide the Chagosians as to whom they would like, where they would like to pay allegiance to, whether it is to the Republic of Mauritius or to the United Kingdom. Let us be very careful that there isn't a referendum one day where Chagosians and their descendants will be asked to vote, to choose, because this is something which the British could easily do. But we as a nation should stand firm, and it is only if we stand firm on this particular issue that we can succeed. So once again, let me say that we stand for this motion and we will vote for the motion. Thank you very much.